Okay. Good evening, everyone. Before I hand over to the chair of tonight's meeting, I remind everyone here in the room we're now live streaming. We politely request that all participants wait until being invited to speak by the chair. If you wish to speak, please raise your hand. Once invited to speak, please preface your contribution by stating your name. This will help the mics lock in on the primary speaker and thereby maximise the sound quality for those watching at home. If you are watching at home and wish to participate in tonight's meeting, please turn your video on. If you are just observing, please turn your video off. Unless actively speaking, all those watching the meeting via Zoom should have their mics muted. Members of the public are reminded that public participation is for questions only. Comments, suggestions or representations may be made at the discretion of the chair of the meeting. In case of a fire evacuation, the fire point is the marketplace. For this evening, there will be no fire drills. And when I hand you over to tonight's chair, Councillor Jo Westbrook.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you for coming this evening to tonight's community development meeting. We're actually going to start slightly differently than what's written on the agenda. So my apologies for that. The first thing we're actually going to do, just to make it easier for people who are online watching, as we have a fair number of people online, we're actually just going to announce which councillors are currently in the room. So I'm going to ask all of the councillors to just introduce themselves before we start the meeting. So I'll start with myself. I'm Councillor Jenny Westbrook and I am the councillor for Melksham East. I'm going to go this way. I don't think we need the officers to introduce themselves, but if we could go to the councillors, that'd be really helpful.
Yeah, I'm Councillor Safi Raby, representing Melksham North Ward.
I'm Councillor Charlie Stokes, representing Melksham East.
Andrew Griffin, representing Melksham South.
Adrian Westbrook, representing Forest.
And Pat Aves.
Forest.
Thank you very much. I think we're going to try and do that from now on, just so people online know who's in the room, because obviously the picture is quite far away. Lovely. We'll now move on to the agenda. So do we have any apologies for this evening?
Councillor Oakley.
Lovely. Thank you very much. Any declarations of interest from the floor? Councillor Westbrook.
It's a non-pecuniary interest, but it's on the charging to KGB.
Okay. We don't have any public in the room, but are there any members of the public online who would like to come in? If you could turn your camera on. I'll take that as a no. Great, thank you very much. Moving on to agenda item 4, so minutes. To approve the minutes of community development meeting held on the 7th of October 2004. Do we have any comments on them at all? No? Happy to propose. So Councillor Raby, got a seconder there? Councillor Stokes, all in favour? Lovely, thank you very much. Do we have them for me to sign?
Oh.
Hold on a second when this is being done. So moving on to agenda item 5, you'll note that this is actually a report for the full meeting. We are looking at doing things slightly differently from now on, where reports come in one go. And this is to try and help us read the reports in a more, I think, narrative way, should we say? This report has been compiled by both our deputy clerk and our events and comms. Is it just events manager or events and comms?
Events and community engagement.
Events and community engagement manager. I should know your job title. I'm really sorry. I apologise. Is there anything that anyone would like to say on the report? Because whilst I realise that there's nothing actually here, really, I just wonder if anyone has any comments at all on this slightly different way of reporting.
Yeah, I think it's brilliant. It's just a really, really good, clear way to see exactly what's going on, what the workings are in the background, clear and concise. Yeah,
Love this.
more the same.
Yeah, I would have to say I completely agree. I think it's a much easier way to read the report, and it's really nice to see that there's actual background information in there for everything. Great, I will move on in that case. Sorry, I just need to slide my across to actually get to the report. So moving on then, do you want me to read out what the introduction and the purpose of the report before we move on to the next agenda item? Nice, would everyone like me to do that? So, just so everyone knows, so we've got that the purpose of this report is to update Melksham Town Council and community events for 2025. And the introduction is, Melksham Town Council is committed to ensuring events reflect the vibrant community spirit and evolving needs of the residents. As part of this commitment, the council is undertaking a comprehensive review of its events programme. This process will assess the success and lessons from past events while setting the foundation for a refreshed and innovative approach to planning and delivering activities in 2025. With an emphasis on inclusivity, efficiency, value for money and community engagement, the council is working to establish new processes and plans that streamline events or organisation. The goal is to ensure all events not only enhance local culture and tradition, but also foster greater involvement from residents, local businesses and stakeholders. By proactively planning ahead, Melksham Town Council aims to deliver a diverse and exciting calendar of events in 2025. So, moving on to agenda item 6, which is the K6 telephone boxes. Has everyone had a chance to look at this? I'm happy to read it out, a bit of it, and then we'll go over to the debate if everyone's happy with that. So the purpose of this report is to update and seek approval of the Community Development Committee to proceed with the proposal of the BT telephone box installations. The introduction to this is Melksham Town Council agreed the adoption of 2 telephone boxes on the 28th of the 2nd, 2020. So that is nearly 5 years ago, with a view of using them for future projects. They are, of course, in 2 separate locations. So we have one on Woodrow Road. For those who are listening and may not know where Woodrow Road is, that is outside the Pig and Whistle pub at the bottom end of Forest, sort of in the middle actually of Forest Road. And then the other location is on the Spa Road, and that's opposite the Canberra Centre on Spa Road. One is in considerably more a better state than the other, but that's just wear and tear and how that works. So the background of the posts is they are both, oh, I'm going to have to get this right. Liberty Lady Margaret Hall, Oxford, Battersea Power Station, Liverpool Cathedral. Never going to have to say that again in a sentence. The K6, known as the Jubilee, was designed in 1935 to commemorate the Silver Jubilee of King George V, which obviously we have a great connection in Melksham to with our King George V playing field. And he was in service and became in service across the United Kingdom or GB. From 1936, the K6 was the first red telephone kiosk to be used outside of London. Resplendent, fantastic word.
Thanks.
In current red with I don't know what that is.
Bas relief.
Thank you. Bas relief Tudor crown with a later edition of St Edward's crown from 1955, which was eventually painted gold. Also, the 3 columns of distinctive 8 rows, equal size panels of glass. An impressive 8 feet 3 inches tall, weighing 13. What's Casey?
100 weight. 100 weight. Now that is worrying because that's the age, isn't it?
Sorry, or 0.69 tons. And it will carefully, and the reason this is so important is because that obviously will massively impact where we end up putting it. So the update on the project is the collection of both boxes and transport by a DC Transport, BT's preferred contractor, to do an acid bath and then powder coat or painted in the current red British standard. The date for that is to be confirmed as we're waiting on BT. Do we have an update on that at all?
No, so from BT's point of view, it can take up to 3 months to disconnect from the phone lines. They have been instructed to do that. And if you do it through BT, there is no cost. So that needs to be done anyway.
Okay. So that is obviously dependent on the condition. The cost of it is dependent on condition and stripped and the desired specification finish to be agreed within our budget. Does anyone have anything they'd like to add now before we move on to proposed location?
No.
No? Okay. So proposed location would be the marketplace or the town hall to accompany the final triplet.
There's already one in Marketplace.
Thank you. And the intention being to create an Instagrammable photo location for residents, visitors and potentially wedding parties once the town hall is back generating revenue from events and room hire. So the first design consideration would be Wiltshire's own art installation, similar but better than Out of Order, which is by David Match from 1989. And if anyone doesn't know where that is, it's in Kingston, just outside London. And the installation can be adapted for seasonal decorations and will be adjacent to the pop-up garden. A discussion with Wiltshire Council Highway Engineer, Highway Control, covering the area boards of Melksham and Bradford and Avon, is in support of the concept. Melksham Town Council will need to submit planning permission for this. Do we have any anything that anyone would like to add, particularly around the usages of the boxes? As I know and there are some project finance later on, but I wanted to get some input there. Councillor Westbrook.
Just so that somebody speaks. I think the important thing is, I mean, they do become just a rather beautiful focal point, don't they? I mean, the thought of them being outside the town hall and being used for photographs and things like that actually is quite, it's an iconic building. It will have an iconic telephone box there as well. And I just think it just enhances trying to make the front of the town hall less austere.
Councillor Raby.
Can I, so we've obviously spoken in previous meetings about various different uses for the phone boxes. So is this now what we're thinking of as art installation rather than a community use installation?
What I am thinking is having it as a generic art installation all year round. Whereas you'll see the one in Kingston, say they've painted over the glass. I don't want to do that. We'll still see the glass because we will still be able to open the doors. So Christmas lights, we could light it up inside throughout the year. You might be able to put flowers in there throughout the years and try and use them in a different way if we needed to.
So we could potentially use them as pop-up locations if we wanted to.
Yeah, I want to try and have them as a dual usage. I've been around a lot of towns where I've looked at where they stick a defib inside or books inside. You know, the books are lovely in rural areas. I just think they're not going to work in the same way here.
I get that, but I like the idea of it being dual, but I really would like to see the emphasis being on a community asset of some sort rather than it just being an art installation. And finding something, I get you about defibrillators and books and stuff like that. But there are plenty of other things they've been used for community projects. And
Mini galleries are quite nice.
yeah, that
Yeah.
kind of thing, pop-up art locations, that sort of stuff. So the phone box actually becomes the resource for people to use to show those things off rather
what
than it just being art.
Yeah, I mean, what you could do is potentially have one where it's used for, it could become like a business pop-up shop. Like,
So I think to begin with, and I think this is something that we can decide upon this evening. I think if we're happy that we all would like, that we're all happy for it to go to be moved into the marketplace and for them to be returned back to their original red colour. I think if they're then going to be kept open, what they then become outside of just being sort of art installations as they are, can be brought later.
Well, I actually think if we're going to do that, I think that's something we should be opening up to our residents for things that they would actually think would be good ideas for their usage as well.
And I think if we need to get them in the right location and get them looking nice again.
Actually, I'm fine with it. It's just that there's been lots of these kind of things that have been done, not just in this country, but all over the world in different ways. And there'll be people in this town who have travelled and seen stuff, and you will have probably things that we never even thought of. So, yeah, that would be mine.
So I don't. Sorry.
It's all right.
Councillor- Sorry, Charlie.
No, I mean, I agree with Safi, that, you know, that it should be open up to the community for a discussion on what they want. Because as much as, you know, there are people here who do appreciate art and, you know, and we've done some amazing things like with the grass, you know, animals and stuff that kids loved and everything. I think what people in Melksham certainly enjoy more is something they can use and be part of and have, you know, say, oh, I use that, you know. I think that's let's make it a part of our sort of like usable culture, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think definitely opening it up, definitely restoring it. Definitely.
I'm just going to go to Andrew first, then I'll come back if that's okay.
Mine's a more sort of technical, objective question.
Yeah.
Does the installation cost that's been indicated, does that include electrical connections?
I wouldn't have thought so.
So we'd have to presumably provide some sort of lighting within them when they're in the final location.
It depends what, I suppose, what we want
It
it to
depends
be.
how you use them.
Right,
I have looked at where the location is and where the nearest point of access of electricity is. It's right next door in the marketplace. So if we
Okay.
wanted to get electricity there, we could. But I haven't gone that stage yet because we don't know what the usage
okay.
is, but it is option.
Yeah.
We do have the option of doing that.
And my other, may seem a trivial question. Do we know that we will get back the boxes that they uplift?
Having the same ones.
Yes.
Oh. So I just wanted to make sure.
Sure, so that if, if in the future we can say, yes, well, this phone box was originally up by the Pig and Whistle.
As in, is there a way to identify which one?
Yes.
I'm sure I
we've
can
got
put
traceability.
identified code on them.
Yes, rather than, we've got a post,
They pick
we've
one up,
got
but
a
they
phone
pick
box,
one
we don't know where it came from.
No, I can put an identification code and work out with the company how to do that. That's not an issue.
Sappy?
The other one that actually just crossed my mind now was something that I thought about a while ago, almost in conjunction with community larder and things, is people doing their own growing veg and stuff. Actually, it could even be potentially an extension of the community larder in terms of a pickup point. Yeah, there's so many things that which aren't going to talk about electricity, things like that. Don't.
If we configure them correct or appropriately, they needn't have a single use for the duration. It could alter around from month to month.
I'm just going to go to Charlie as she had her hand up.
Well, it's actually going to one of Andrew's points about the electricity. As we were talking about them possibly even being movable, if we look at solar maybe as a way, because talking about being, eco-friendly.
Yeah.
Have a, let's give that an idea when the solar panel.
I love all the ideas that have been coming up actually, and I think it's really important to take those on board and take on board what the residents want. But I think the important thing is that they're in the right place. In terms of whatever you want to do with them, they're going to be seen by the most amount of people, and everybody knows how much our residents love our marketplace and the.
Do
and
you as
the-
conduct have the authority to make the decision for it to go there? Would it need to be a recommendation from us to full council?
I think Tracy is online. My thoughts are actually you're just making a recommendation that we go for planning permission
Yeah.
to see if we get that. So I think that's just the first initial stages.
Okay.
We can, if we then have been authorised planning permission, we can then go to full council for them to confirm if that's what they would like to do.
Okay, so I'm just going to move on to the report unless anyone has anything else they'd like to say there, because I think everyone's had really great ideas on what it could be. So the project finance, we've had one quote that we've received already. We are currently seeking additional quotes. So that this is for the removal and making good of the area that they get taken up from, including the streetworks permit, and they are £1,200 each. 2 times, and so that's each, so it's actually 2,400, correct? 2 times the kiosk full refurbishment, and that is £3,200 each. So it does cost quite a lot of money to restore them back to their kind of former glory, but I would hate to see them not be. And then 2 times the kiosk installs. So once we've obtained the relevant permission, that is £1,200 each. So that is a total cost for the project of £11,200. There would be some funding that came from the Wiltshire Towns programme. And I know that the Deputy Clerk is looking at other potential ways that we can fund this. But I think we would need to make a recommendation to full council for what we'd like to do here. I would be really upset, I think, if this town council decided not to take on the 2 phone boxes. They are not only historically part of the town and part of being, British. I think they can potentially become a focal point, as we want to maybe up tourism in the town. They're pretty, they're nice.
Yeah, I probably just need to explain, this is the most expensive quote with the reputable company. Now I have got a cheaper quote, but they don't know whether they can get all the glasses for all the 2 boxes. And they don't know if there's going to be any doubt. So I'm not being given confidence in terms of them coming back exactly how we want them to. This company has said all the telephone signs are included, so it will come back brand new. One doesn't have its door even on the hinge. So, you know, we have got a lot of work to be done. And the longer we leave the work to be done, the worse state they're going to be in.
Particularly as we go through
Are
winter.
these local companies?
This company is not. The other ones, I've got the other ones that are, because they are so heavy, you need to have a high bid lorry in the first instance. There are some of those locally, but it's about having somebody that's going to do all the work. And if you want them to come back, they're iconic, you need them to be done properly, that are going to last.
I imagine it's actually quite a specialist kind of,
Yeah,
it's probably something you either do or don't
Yeah.
do.
I hate to see us save a couple of grand and get this.
And get it wrong. I have to say, I'm honest. So sorry, Pat,
The one in Spa Road was very carefully repainted by a crew from the town council.
I don't think it's the one in the Spa Road that we have the concerns over.
That's the other one. Well, it's just got 3 sides.
I did go and check on it actually at the weekend, because I've got a bit precious about them. And I think I've got we have got about 2 glass panels left.
Oh, right.
So they will both need brand new glass. You know, if you want them to come back, they've got to all both be done.
Oh, yeah. Just thought I'd mention it. And we haven't heard anything about the Wiltshire Towns programme yet. We haven't.
No, not as of yet.
So there is a recommendation on the table, and that is that the deputy clerk, as requested, has investigated the K6 project. So to consider approval for the deputy clerk to proceed with planning application to Wiltshire Council and to source fund the project to proceed. Does anybody want to make any changes to that as a motion?
No, I think that's that clear.
Yep.
So,
Yeah, everyone happy with that? Great. Anyone want to propose it? Sappy.
I'll second this.
So Sappy to propose, councillor A Westbrook, second. All in favour? Lovely. Unanimous, thank you very much. So moving on to item number 7, this is the online booking system. So Melksham Town Council has introduced Jot forms, a streamlined online booking system for all events. That's hard to say. Ensuring a smooth and efficient process from initial booking to income generation. This initiative reflects the council's commitment to enhancing accessibility and the operational efficiency while maintaining the highest standards of safety and GDPR. The new system will simplify event booking for residents and organisations, allowing them to easily reserve spaces, submit supporting documents and access terms and conditions for events. Integrated features will guarantee compliance with legal and operational requirements. By implementing this system, the council aims to provide a seamless experience for event organisers and attendees, increase revenue potential, and maintain robust oversight of event planning and execution. This modernised approach underscores Melksham Town Council's dedication to innovation and service excellence. Anything anyone would like to add? Councillor Griffin.
Is this going to be driven from the website?
In time, yes.
What- Is the website going to be overhauled?
Well, we actually approved funding, I believe, for a new website a long time ago.
Yes, yes, I am already starting to deal with that. I've started today in terms of moving that forward.
Put money into
I know Jot forms fairly well, and I should say it's a good one to choose. I know there are many out there that do similar things. I believe this one was chosen specifically because it allows you to upload documents, supporting documents, so things like public liability and insurance documents for stall holders. That's why this one was specifically chosen above other ones. I think from what I've heard, it's already going fairly well, and it's doing what we need it to do. I think it's going to be a really great way to start streamlining. I do believe Councillor Westbrook was asked to test it.
Yes, I can't remember when I tested it, because I've done so many forms. Was that for the Food and River Festival?
It will be, yes.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
I think, was that just the booking form that I did those, so I didn't actually have to upload any documentation?
You will be my guinea pig, once we.
That's absolutely not a problem. I'm happy to be a guinea pig because I think particularly, it is particularly sort of older people who tend to be doing the type of work that we're talking about. And uploading of forms can sometimes be quite a nightmare for us. And I'm quite IT literate, so I think it's really important that we bear that in mind all the time.
I will come to you. Just one thing I did want to ask is, I know that I am being a bit fastidious about getting feedback forms and making sure that we know where people are coming from and people attending events. I know Jotform can do that. Are we going to start using that, or have we already started using it?
We will be, but
Yeah.
in the interim, we've continued to use Google Forms to collect that data.
So for the Christmas event on Saturday, we'll use Google Forms.
Yes.
Right, that's what I just wanted to know. That's absolutely fine. Charlie?
I think it's good that we're becoming modern. I mean, like, it is, 2024, it's nice to be kind of up to date a bit. Out of curiosity, how much does it cost us? Is it a month, a year? How does it run, basically? So
So you pay a fee for the year.
Okay.
It was £200 because it was half price, so we got it on 50% off of it. But that is £200 for all of our events bid across. So from V Day to Remembrance to Christmas to Carousel, so everything will be completely streamlined. The amount of time that it will release from officer time, there's no comparison on time. It will make everything more efficient.
And in terms of people who do have issues with technology, as Adrian said, if they go on, can't do anything, I think they can still come in and just book it.
They will be able to come in and we will talk them through the online system.
It's like the doctor's surgery.
It'll be.
Anything else on that at all? No? Lovely, so that is noted. So market and promotion, this is just to note, but I will read this out again. Melksham Town Council is enhancing its approach to event marketing and promotion in 2025 by giving each event a distinct identity and voice. This strategy ensures that every event resonates with its target audience and reflects the unique character of Melksham's vibrant community. To maximise engagement, the council will use a variety of promotional tools, including website, tailored social media campaigns, eye-catching posts, and engaging videos that highlight the excitement and purpose of each event. Collaborations with local businesses, organisations, and influencers will help amplify the reach and impact these efforts. Hashtags and collaborations will play a key role in creating a unified online presence, encouraging residents and visitors to share their experiences and connect through social media platforms. By fostering an interactive and community-focused approach, Melksham Town Council aims to build anticipation, drive participation, and celebrate the town's identity through its events. This comprehensive marketing strategy ensures that every event leaves a lasting impression while strengthening the sense of community pride and involvement. Anything, Charlie?
Sorry, I have those. Again, love the fact that we're, modernising ourselves and, becoming really kind of, I think this would be really great. And I know it's a couple of months away. We can get the youth advisory boards when that's set up to also be part of this as well, because I think this would also be right up their alley. It would be an amazing way to engage the youth, and I think this will really benefit everybody in this town, and I'm really, really pleased to see it. So, yeah.
I'm actually, I've got to say, really excited by what's written here. I think it gives an amazing overview of each event. I think it's going to give us, I think Melksham is actually, excuse me, heralded for our events. We do them very, very well. Apologies. And I think this is just going to step it up another level. And it really excites me what's written here. Adrian.
Wrexham is very well known for its events, but it's where we've definitely in the past had quite a scattergun approach to it, you know, the community groups have done it and all the rest of it, and this is lovely to see it all being brought together and you know, and perhaps just a little bit more streamlined. I think that's what I like about it, and I do really like, I have to say, even those things like hashtags and things like that, filming with pleasure and horror, but never mind. I do know what it means. That doesn't mean to say that I do it happily, but I understand hashtags. So yeah, it's really good to see it.
One thing I would say in here, I don't know if it was written down, just from my quite extensive knowledge of social media marketing, location services are really important. I know you know that, but I just wanted to make sure it was written in here.
Absolutely.
One thing I will say is that we're better at it now, but were very late in the way that we promoted our events. Everything went out very late. So I would be interested in just even seeing a kind of marketing calendar would be really helpful, just to see it, not because I think you don't know what you're doing. But
No, it definitely needs what I would call a proactive approach, which is timely. Social media is about quality, not quantity. And it's about making it personable. We've had the conversation about what I think about posters going out on social media. So it's about evolving that now and changing it, and the officers are all on board with that. So we're hoping for 2025 that will start to be noticed.
do we have a social media advertising budget? And if we don't, should we?
No,
I've seen.
no, we don't have one. I would suggest for next year, let's get it right.
Yeah.
And it may be something that might be worth considering in the 2026 to 27 budget. I think for us, next year is going to be like getting the basics right. Really looking at our analytics of our social media and also our usage and traction on our website. Be very nice to compare the old with the new. But to exactly start having a look a little bit deeper about what the usage is, and those information will be reported to
You're
council.
speaking to my data loving heart. Okay. Lovely, moving on, unless does anyone have anything they'd like to add? No, consider it noted. So, community events calendar. Has everyone had a chance to look at the community events calendar? Would you like me to read it out, or do we think we're okay? I was going to say.
I'm going to make a comment about potential, and I know we spoke about this last night, about cancelling the remembrance windows. When we went round to the judging, there was a huge amount of pride in the shops that actually decorate those windows because of it being remembrance. I think you might find there would be a little bit of ill feeling to find it cancelled, particularly as it was very close to some people's hearts to be able to actually do it.
I completely understand what you're saying. Next year's the 80th anniversary of the end of World War II. Is there a way that potentially we could do it for that instead of remembrance? Because I think
I would really be very sad to see the remembrance windows disappear completely. I can get it for next year, but I'd hate to see it get to 2026 and it doesn't get back into the calendar.
Okay.
I just think it's
a valid point.
And there is, whilst you say it's close to Halloween, which we're talking about doing as well, actually we had Remembrance and Christmas even closer than Halloween and Remembrance. Because we had to, if you bear in mind, those shops' windows were decorated for Halloween for like 2-3 weeks in advance. So
There is a valid point.
I just would like to see it go.
Adrian.
I understand what you're saying, something. I absolutely 100% agree with you. I think my concern was a bit over the sensitivity of the judging, and that isn't being critical of anybody. It's you know, it's very important that our shops do actually do Remembrance Day windows and perhaps get certificates for doing that. I'm not sure that I like to have a winner. I think that is what worried me. It felt a little bit of a competition for something which is actually a poignant event. So I think it's a case of just getting the balance between They were absolutely lovely, the windows, and and I think, I actually don't know how you did the judging, and I don't know if actually there was a winner, because I'm not sure I've seen that, but it's about that sensitivity.
Can I come in? Obviously, I judged the Remembrance windows.
Right, I wasn't even aware of that.
And the judging was done between two of us, and then the scores collated, so actually it was very clear in terms of the second and third. Actually, all the shops we went to presented prizes.
That's what I like
We
to
were
hear.
really chuffed to have got a certificate
Yeah.
to have won and to taken part.
Yeah.
I think if you take away the prize giving bit, it kind of loses why people put all that effort in.
It's just that competition is a bit different at Christmas than it is for me at Remembrance. Remembrance is a more poignant day.
Charity shops are interesting because what they've done is they literally all year round, anything they think they can use, they keep back. So it's like this really big kind of, oh my God, that's going to pop you. Don't sell it, for God's sakes, to remember. And it was, you kind of got that whole excitement of them having really fought over the whole 12 months about what they were doing, rather than actually maybe just decorate some Christmas window.
Charlie was first and then Pat, sorry.
But I was just gonna say, you know, we have a large amount of residents who are army, who are veteran, who are forces of some sort. You know, our Remembrance Day is huge. It's one of the best well-known ones around Wiltshire. I think, you know, if we take away the window display, takes away a little bit of something that actually we are quite celebrated for. Especially.
I don't think we were ever going to take away the displays.
No, not the displays, but-
You're welcome to do
Celebration
that.
of the displays, I guess, you know, of people remembering, you know.
I think for next year it was done because it's the 80th, and I think we were
Yeah.
going to try and encourage people to do it for the 80th anniversary. That might be that people want to do it for both.
I think they were.
They will do.
And if that's the case, I mean, we can vote on it, but it sounds as though it's quite unanimous that we'd like it put back in.
I mean, if it's not put back in, let us please still encourage people to do their window display.
I think you ought to put back in, because I think it is an important element.
And it's a completely different sort of attitude, isn't it?
Different tone.
The VE Day celebration is going to be a celebration.
Yeah.
Whereas the remembrance is precisely that.
And I think what you'll also find is, okay, I know we only had 8 shops enter this time. There'll be a lot of new businesses potentially opening town between now and next November. There has been new businesses that are opened. We saw windows this time that have never done Christmas before. They may well decide that they want to come in and enter. So, you know, I just think it would be.
In terms of officer time, is it something we can facilitate? I just want to check, it's not a.
Yeah, it's not an onerous thing. I think this year there was a sort of a lot of chasing because it was done via email.
Right.
But obviously, once we've installed our new drop form system, it will be easier just to be able to send that link out or direct people to that link on the
Okay.
website for people to enter. And then it's obviously just the time from councillors for judging.
So in which case, I think let's reinstate that and also put it in for the day as well. The only other one I wanted to have a quick conversation around is. Oh, sorry.
No, Pat had her.
Oh, you did, Pat. I'm so sorry.
Two things, especially with it being the 80th, could we perhaps think about having a certificate for everybody who entered, regardless of whether they came first, second or third or whatever? Did you?
I did, but.
Oh, right, well, a certificate for everybody, just because it's a special event and it's a memoriam thing. And the other thing is, could we involve the public somehow in the scoring? I mean, even if it's not the judge's choice, but have a sort of like the Dodson Award.
The People's Choice.
Yeah.
This goes back to what I suggested for Halloween.
It could go online, you know.
Oh, no, don't.
Well, it's just,
Not after the Christmas card thing, no.
It's a bit of a.
Let's not do that.
whatever, but anyway,
I don't know.
that's,
if
we
I
could
think
involve the
Christmas.
public.
What we'll do, Pat, is we will go away, take on board what you said and try and think about how we could work and the best way and then report that back.
Just a thought.
That's a good thought.
The only other one I wanted to have a quick discussion about, and I appreciate that in terms of budgets and things like that, we don't yet know. Is the Christmas carols? Sorry, I'm going to cough again.
Random. I mean, we had such good fun last year. Come on, Jenny, you enjoyed it.
Jenny loved it.
And make sure someone gets elected next year who can sing. I mean, I can sing, but who can take over from me? That sounded very arrogant, didn't it, for me to be in a public meeting?
Is your thinking to drop it? Because I'd like to know, one, how many officer hours it takes up. Two, out of all of them, it's probably our least, is it one of our
No, it wasn't.
least?
Our second time it was Sam, okay.
Oh, was it?
I would suggest to answer that, to give you a fair answer, it's our first carols around the Christmas tree. So I would suggest that we do this one,
And come back.
do a SWOT analysis on it afterwards, come back with all the details and the costings and the successes, and then make an informed decision.
That is perfect, as long as I get to see you and Christina up there singing, that won't be an issue.
You know, the public really enjoyed it, those who came, I was one of my kids.
My only thing I'd say is, and we have done it more this year, I think if we are going to continue doing it, I would like to see it to be more of a schools event. Where we get, and I appreciate we have got more schools involved this year.
Isn't it?
But I think it needs to become more of a gathering the schools together and having the schools involved with it, rather than it necessarily being kind of the councillors leading it, because I think that's what makes Christmas so special, is having young people
Yes. I
singing
agree completely.
and being involved. That I think is more where I would like to see it go.
If I could
That.
just compare the first one, which was a completely different format, and it was the first one, so we didn't know what to expect. And there were a few things that we decided not to do for the second one. The second one was a lot more popular because it was another event that people had heard of or didn't get to the first time, but they were determined to get there the second time, that kind of thing. But it was also much more inclusive. Albeit half of it was by accident, but it worked. And I'd like to see, but I mean, you're not going to get it right the first time, are you? I'm sure the Food and River Festival was the same. You know, it takes a few years to set into a pattern that's popular, acceptable and successful. And I think that that's where we are with the carols. I mean, we've done two different versions of the same thing so far, and the second one was by far more interesting and much more fun than the first one.
Yeah, like I said, I
That's
did.
what we can do. And then it's lovely having the animals there. You'd be amazed at the number of kids who had never been near a donkey or never been near sheep and things. I mean, it was a real education, just standing there watching them.
My husband spent a lot of time near those on this. I don't think going up around.
I think it needs to be children led and needs to be about getting schools involved and having it being children led, because I think I appreciate that takes more time, but I just think it's that's what's magical about it, is people come because their kids are singing.
So
That's
the
what I like to see.
reindeers at Leeds last weekend, they were.
Reindeers, yeah.
Reindeers.
Yeah, they're
No, she said
lovely.
real ones.
Real ones, yes, real
I
ones.
love reindeers.
They were absolutely beautiful.
I've seen
Lennon House didn't have a dog, she even went to London. They had a goat and a sheep, no dog.
Okay, let's move on from this. That's lovely, isn't it?
That make it. I mean, it was lovely.
More animals then.
Yeah, more. Well,
Did we turn it into a farm? I'm joking. That was a joke. That was a joke.
so I think what I suggested was that we build a stable and make up a little sort of
Do you want to
tower.
be Jesus?
I think I'm a bit old for that.
No, he was 3 years old. I think it's nice so that we do it at the front. It's nice that it can attract people who are just walking past you. You know, even if they hadn't known it was on. Yeah, I did see people go, oh, what's that? And cross the street to come to it. That's nice, I think.
And as for the magic, it was the magic of some of the kids with the animals that got me. I just loved it.
Once sang, I can't remember which one it was, but it was.
Alaric.
Because they thought they were singing and then.
There'd just been a bit of.
But then they all came together and sang, didn't they?
Okay, let's move on to the next agenda item, because as lovely as this is, sorry. Okay, so agenda item 10, stallholders pitch fees. So, sorry?
Yeah, this report actually doesn't Well, it should. It doesn't quite match up to the agenda items. We've got sports roadshow to note and committee room hire on my agenda.
My agenda's got storeholders as 10 and storeholders as 10.
It's mine.
Sorry, I've got the wrong old agenda.
Never mind. Just
That's not me.
Okay, so Melksham Town Council is committed to fostering a vibrant community by hosting events that are accessible and appealing to both residents and visitors. Recognising that the 2024 stallholder fees were considerably too high, the Deputy Clerk has reviewed these fees with the Events and Community Development Officer to ensure that they are more affordable and competitive with similar local events. To streamline this process and allow flexibility, the Council is considering granting authority to the Deputy Clerk to set pitch fees based on the specific nature and requirement of each event. This approach aims to balance the financial needs of the council with the goal of engaging greater participation for a diverse range of stallholders. By aligning stallholder fees with those comparable to other local events, the officers hope to attract a wider variety of vendors, thereby enhancing the overall experience of for attendees and supporting local businesses. This initiative reflects the council's decision to continuously approve and responsiveness to community feedback. This does come from the fact that we have struggled to get particularly hot food stalls for Christmas. We did set the stall prices at significantly too high. And I know we're talking about Christmas later, so we can talk about it later, but I think it makes sense to have a motion on the table that allows our officers to set pitch fees and to be able to make that dynamic pricing decision. Andrew.
You mentioned fees proposed for this year's Christmas event. Is this proposal restricted to that, or is it a general proposal about fees for makers market, farmers markets?
This is for pitch fees for any town council events going forward, that you're providing me the flexibility to know that we've got to hit income targets against being able to be competitive.
Thank you.
Any comments at all? Anything else? So there is a recommendation on the table. So that is for us to give the Deputy Clerk to have delegated authority to adapt the vendor pricing structure depending on the event and length. All in favour? That is unanimously carried. Thank you very much. So agenda item 11, which is Melksham Town Council holiday activities. The graph below shows the attendance data for October half term and show the locations across Melksham and Melksham without residents and the surrounding areas that attended.
Yeah, I think it's we had one. We one had.
Oh, sorry. We had one better attended than, so week one had better attendance than week two, despite more, I can't say that word. Inclemental weather. You know what I mean.
You know what you mean.
So there are the graphs there. I'm just going to continue reading the bit underneath. By mutual agreement, Active Trowbridge will no longer be providing us with half-term holiday services in 2025 due to the need to focus within Trowbridge itself. We have been collecting costings for a range of holiday provisions, investigating the possibility of a more varied programme of holiday activities beyond sport. Comments?
It's absolutely wonderful to see some data.
Yeah.
Absolutely fantastic. So whoever did it, thank you very much indeed. It's really, really helpful. And I love the fact that we can now actually say how many people came from Melksham without, how many people came from Melksham.
That's the next bit.
Numbers are great as well.
Yeah, yeah. It's interesting actually, because one of the things I do for the Food and River Festival is I always go around the week or 2 weeks beforehand with programmes, and we hand them out in the park. I always ask people in the park where they come from. You would be amazed how far people travel to our splash pad. Really would be amazed. I mean, I joke with them when they say they've come from Caution or Trowbridge. I'll ask them if they've got their passports and things, but it is a significant number of people that we draw into this town, and we need to be making more of that, I think.
Anything from anyone else? So the only thing I want to add to this is when we discussed this prior, I was very keen that I didn't want it to just be sport that we focused on, and that's why that's in there. I think there is lots of places do sport, and I think it's very easy to just stick to sport. But as a child who had zero interest in sport, I had to go to Swindon to find the nearest place that did arts things for me. And I would love for us to do more than just arts, crafts, lots of different things. And I know that that is something you're exploring, but I just wanted to make sure again that was said in public. Lovely. Moving. Sorry, yes.
Are we providing something for children's SEN as well?
We are looking at having a really variety of holiday activities. You will have a more in-depth proposal coming to the next ComDev.
As long as.
Lovely. Moving on. So funding and grants. To ensure your community events are sustainable, creating sponsorship opportunities, exploring income generation strategies, and applying for grants are excellent opportunities for Melksham Town Council. So number one, sponsorship opportunities. Deputy Clerk to work with officers to create a sponsorship package to promote a reliable income stream for community events. Sorry. Community officers will ensure proactive approach to communicating opportunities. Too many similar words in this document. Number two, grant applications. An application will be submitted to Melksham Area Board for a contribution to Park Yoga. Wiltshire and Swindon Sports Partnership, who also are known as WASP in case anybody is wanting to know that, have also been approached if they would like to contribute as a partnership. Melksham Without Parish Council is considering the Deputy Clerk's request for consideration of a contribution to events which benefits all of Melksham's residents. The Parish Clerk has confirmed the request is being considered on the 3rd of December. It was actually considered last night on the 2nd of December at their full council meeting. I did speak with a Melksham Without councillor, and the feedback, and I don't believe you've had anything.
That feedback as of yet.
The feedback I got was that they wanted more information. Now, from the information I've received from our Deputy Clerk, we did give them quite a lot of information. As you'll know, I've been asking a lot recently to make sure that we are gathering where people are coming from. It's, for me, I mean, I've talked about this a number of times. We are the 4th largest settlement in Wiltshire, with the 3rd largest town. However, we are ritually overlooked, and I think a huge reason behind that is we have 2 separate councils. Now, this isn't us saying we need to become one council, but I do think we need to start working towards a one Melksham platform, which is us working together with more harmony with Melksham Without, particularly the areas of Bower Hill and Berryfields, which are really very much within the town. You know, our only secondary school is in Bower Hill. And I think everyone in this council is very aware of the maybe not easy relationship that the 2 councils have had. However, I think as we move forward, we have to find a way to work together. And I think it is becoming increasingly aware that people who live in Melksham Town are paying for every event that goes on in this town with no contribution, despite the fact that it benefits a lot of people who live in Melksham Without. We are now getting the data to prove. I'm not saying we shouldn't be paying the lion's share. We have the most amount, we have significantly more people, and more people are benefiting from it. But there should be, and we do have more resource, but there should be some level of contribution there. And I had said I was happy to go to their next full council and talk with them. Unfortunately, it falls on the same day as our full council, which is a shame. Opening this up to the floor.
Yeah, I'm just looking at the October half-term week numbers. It looks like Melksham Without residents were about 25% of the attendees. And yes, we absolutely shouldn't propose that we amalgamate, but certainly cooperative working should be encouraged, particularly on things like this. And I'm sure that Melksham Without could assist with the publicity, so that even if it's people from Melksham Without, to get more attendances, that's going to be better all around.
Adrienne.
I think, I've forgotten what the wording you just put in there, but I do think partnership working needs to come in there as well.
Cooperation.
Yeah, collaborative partnership
Yes.
working. That's, I think we ought to be pushing, to that. On the fact that you said that, yeah, sadly it clashes with, our town council meeting as well. Sometimes I think that perhaps as councillors, we need to be a bit pragmatic and say, actually, where would you have the most amount of benefit by going to it? And if you could get Teresa, the clerk, to put it on as the first item on the agenda, you could perhaps speak to that and then come here. I don't think we ought to say, no, we can't do that. I think we ought to try and find a way around it where perhaps our deputy clerk goes to the clerk and says, yes, we'd love to come, but it is now a meeting that day. Can the chair of our committee please be put first on the agenda so that they can then come and attend as well? It shows that we're willing to try to work.
And I think given the history, it is up for us to be the olive branch givers, because it has been that way. I should say that was I said I was happy to go. The clerk of Melksham hasn't requested it. But I think if we can reach out and do that, I'm more than happy to go and
I'll
speak
reach
to
out
them.
to the clerk tomorrow. I mean, they were very receptive to having a conversation. And I think over the next few years, when we have more and more data from all of our events, that's going to help them to make an informed decision. So we are working hard to have a really positive relationship that will be right for all of Melksham residents.
And I mean, they've never seen this data. So in all fairness to them, it's the first time it's presented to them. And, you know, as you said, it looks as though it's roughly 25%. Now, that doesn't mean we're going to say we will only put 5% of the total costs. But I do think it is just it's nice for them to see the impact that the events we're putting on is having for their residents.
Absolutely.
Lovely. Any other comments on that? Lovely, thank you. So moving on, KGV, or King George V, because I know there are people in this room who don't like it being called KGV, park hire. So officers have been reviewing the hire fees for the King George V park to enhance the income generation while ensuring accountability for community events. This initiative aims to balance financial sustainability with community engagement. Current context. The KGV Park serves as a venue for various events, including markets, festivals and private functions. However, existing hire fees may not fully reflect the park's value and potential as a revenue source. Proposed action. 1. Flexible pricing structure, implementing a tiered pricing model based on event type, size and duration. The approach ensures affordability for community events while optimising revenue for community activities. Number 2, promotion and marketing. Upgrade the dedicated park hire page on Melksham Town Council's website, providing an online booking form to ease the booking process. Number 3, register site. So register the park on online portal for entertainment companies who seek venues. The implementation considerations here are transparency, clearly communicate any fee change to the public, providing detailed information on the council's website and through local media. Monitoring and evaluation, regularly assess the impact of new pricing on bookings and income, allowing for adjustments as needed. And accessibility, ensure the fee adjustments do not disproportionately affect non-profit organisations and community groups. By adopting a strategic approach to revise hire fees for KGV Park, Melksham Town Council aims to enhance income generation while maintaining the park as a vibrant and accessible community space. So you can see there that we do have the potential hire charges. So you can see, I will read these out just because I think people might not be able to see it, but I will. So community and charity events would be a day charge based on 8 hours, which is £95, and registered charities will have no VAT. An hourly charge of £15 for registered charities with no VAT, and then a deposit of 50% for the higher charge. Commercial events will be a £350 based on 8 hours. And then or a £60 hourly charge with a 50% higher charge deposit. A setup and takedown, my thing's just gone, would be the charge of half price for the day charge, or then a £40 hourly charge, 50% of the higher charge. Advertising and TV shoot would be £1,000 with we wouldn't do an hourly charge for that, and then £1,000 deposit. And then a fitness or personal training hire would be £180 plus VAT annual licence fee, or a £20 plus VAT hire charge with no deposit. A 10% discount will be provided to Melksham Town residents. So we're going to discuss it and then we'll go to the recommendation. Zach, you first.
My only concern, and this is off the back of conversation you will remember having with Shambles in the park this summer, is we do need to be really careful because, for instance, such a event, I mean, we'll use James's event as an example. James does not make a penny out of the last 2 Shambles he's run. He's not interested in making any money out of it. He's very clearly said he's doing this because he wants it to be an event for both the Friday night for a different generation to the actual festival on Saturday. I just want to be very sure that we engage with those current users of the park, that we don't actually suddenly outprice ourselves from losing an event because actually he can't even make it work. And the investment he puts in himself is huge this year.
So my thought around that would be the following: is you've got your grants process, and your grants process can include in-kind support from the town council for free usage of your facilities. So if he was to want to run that event, he could apply for free KGV park hire as part of your in-kind support to him.
For a commercial event.
It depends if he, well, it can't be commercial if he's not making any money.
It's because he's running as a limited company, so no, that won't work. He makes his revenue off other events. The event he puts on in town here is for town and for residents. He's happy to just wash his face in it. I know James very well. I am deeply concerned that commercial event charge will mean that we potentially lose those kinds of events.
See, he had a grant from us, didn't he, for Halloween? So he did apply to a grant and then for
That's Halloween, this is not Shambles. I'm talking about Shambles.
But what
That's a different.
It's a different, that's not the same person.
Different person.
That's completely different. person. I'm talking about Shambles Festival, which is at the end of May, beginning of June. No, she won't do, but that's what I'm trying to explain to her, because obviously myself and Jenny have been active in Shambles.
it's down for the council to determine. What I would say is whatever you do, you're setting a precedent for how we manage those bookings.
What I want to know then in that case, before I even think about voting for this, is what did we charge
That was going to be my question.
James for the last 2 events? Because until I have those figures, I can't extend this at the moment.
That's fine. Pat?
So this is only for commercial events, right?
No.
Events.
So where does that leave the park run?
Park run's different. It's not for profit.
No. There's no profit.
I know it's a not for profit. So park run is different because it's gifted land for park run, isn't it?
Not fall within a community or charity.
Yeah, exactly.
It might do. I don't know is the answer.
The other thing I was going to point out in the recommendation, it says the deputy clerk to be provided delegated authority to provide discounts for multiple bookings.
So at the moment, the only bit that's really changed is your commercial events is actually gone down slightly to what you were charging. The fitness training has stayed the same as what you'd already agreed for last year. Advertising has stayed the same. What you were doing is giving charities and community events, not charging at all. And I just felt that if you were choosing not to charge community and charity events, we should just be referring them to the grants and to apply for in kind. What you did have in your old fee was really unmanageable. So it was the case that if you had an event going on at the park, you were charging that person per head. You don't always know how many people are coming to an event to enable you to make those costings.
Adrian, you were next.
It's really difficult for me because obviously, running the festival, but that will put virtually £300 onto the festival's cost. I know it's a good grant, don't get me wrong, but we only made £800 last year. So, and what we're trying to do is build up enough money in the festival account that actually you have enough money to run an event. You have that 1 year's capacity within the event, so that actually, if there were no grant, we'd still be able to run the next year's events. I mean, that is damned hard work, I'll tell you that now. I mean, everybody, I know lots of people around here have helped. it's really difficult for me because obviously I have the festival hat on. Wiltshire Council never charge for community events. I'm absolutely in favour of commercial events. Certain advertising shoots. We did actually have an advertising shoot down at Skateboard Park, and they were charged, quite a high rent. I just don't know about because we're a 2-day festival, it makes it quite expensive. But the Lions also come into that as well, and they had it all day. So that would be another £95–100 on the Lions, and probably a bit the following day to actually clear it up and everything. I won't vote on this, I have to be honest, because of my personal view of it, but for somebody who runs the biggest community event there, it would be quite a difficult amount of money to pay.
Pat?
So what did we collect in fees from last year and this year so far?
I don't have that currently, I
Renting
can
out
get that
the
for you.
We haven't had.
Well, that's what I was getting at. I mean,
I don't have them on me tonight, but I will get them for you.
yeah, please.
I mean, I have done, just to reassure you in your decision making, I have done a comparison with councils within Wiltshire and councils within Somerset about their open spaces and what they do. Because I think, like anything, you need to do your market research first. So the information that you've got in front of you, like I say, is for your consideration, but it has been researched.
Yeah, but we don't need to always follow what everybody else does all the time.
No, I'm not saying you need to, I'm just saying as officers, we need to be very clear on the consistency that you want us to follow.
Is anyone else? Sorry, yes, Andrew.
More of a technical question regarding the VAT. I don't know the technical details, but do we need to have the park declared under the option to tax rules?
The park already is, and it is now vatable.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And how do we not charge VAT to charities?
If somebody's got a registered charity number, they will provide you that, and that they don't have to pay that.
We're not, see, the festival are not a registered charity, we're a CIC.
Okay.
And that is a bit
I think that there's been quite a bit of discussion about this. Is it practical to vary the recommendations so that we provide this perhaps as a target or a guideline, but allow some flexibility on the actual amounts that are charged?
No, we can do that.
I think as officers, what is going to be required is, I suppose, we can have discretion. So if somebody was to have multiple book 3 or 4 days, I think you could offer a 10%. However, what I wouldn't want any officers within the council to do is be accused of favouring one or another, and I think that could leave officers open so I want to try and protect the officers from that. What I would also bear in mind is we are really trying to push the uses of King George's, but with that, remember, there is still officers' time in terms of the bookings and chasing up. There is still officers' time that's involved with any booking that's going to go on in any of our open spaces.
Safi, do you want to come in there?
Yeah, so Charlie has very cleverly used the search facility to find it. So James paid, so this was for 2024, a total hire fee. So bear in mind, this is set up, so Friday set up, Saturday event, Sunday breakdown of 700. So actually it will cost him plus VAT, it will cost him the £60 more for him to run his event. And that's what I just, I would just hate to see any of our existing events end up paying more money than where they currently are.
Yeah, this certainly wasn't about putting anybody off from using the park. We certainly want to keep the events that we've got there. But I'm also aware that we need to be looking at sustainability as well.
That's why I'm not voting.
I think much like everyone else, I think when it's a commercial event, it's a very different kettle of fish than if it's a community event. And as you said, I think, and actually I was discussing this earlier, I think a large number of our community groups are not registered charities because it's actually quite difficult to register as a charity and not everybody knows how to do it. I am a bit stuck, I'll be honest, on what to do on the next thing, because I can put it to a vote, and we can put this to a vote as the recommendation.
So
But I'm not sure we're going to get it.
can I actually sort of try to, I think without any doubt at all, the bottom two are absolutely fine. Advertising for TV, particularly personal like training hire, I think actually they're commercial enterprises. I don't see a problem with that. Do you think that we could put that through as a recommendation? I think the officers do need to go back and perhaps talk to some of the community events, because in fairness, Hayley, you haven't really spoken to me with my Fern River Festival, and you haven't seen our accounts. And the same would be for the Lions as well. So I think perhaps, and I'd put James into that as well, go and talk to them. And maybe it's a case of lowering it a little bit. If that came down to £50, it might for the community events, that might be okay. And that doesn't mean to say that it won't go up, but it's a lot of money at the beginning when you've not paid anything. So it's a big jump. Because as I say, although we spend about £19,000 on it, we spend that amount of money for entertainment for the community. So that would be taking away from that point of view. So I think just go back and talk to those people and see if there's a way around it, but to accept that the bottom two could be accepted tonight.
I'm going to go to Charlie and then I'm going to go to the vote. Charlie?
Where I take it that for commercial events, community charity events, they will all have set up and take down costs. Is that something we could lower or take out? Leave the rest of the prices as they are, but either lower or take out the setup and take down so that it's not as hard hitting? Would that work as a compromise?
And I also, if I can just come in on that set up and take down thing, we have not as a town council done ourselves any favours at all for setup. This summer, Shambles was
Shambles.
It was appalling. It was frankly embarrassing. We rocked up there to be hit by a catalogue of disasters throughout setup that actually also cost James money in terms of the setup as well. So I'm very, very, I wouldn't vote for it with that setup and take down costs in, I've got to be honest. The actual day charge is the same as we charged before, that's absolutely fine. But I think penalising somebody for putting their neck on the line, their own money, as Adrian said, these are expensive events to put on, be it the kind of event you're putting on, the kind of event with musicians and things that Shambles put on. Yeah, they are expensive events to run. And when we've done ourselves no favours in the last 12 months, I think this will fall on a very, very stony ground.
I'm going to go to Pat and then I think we need to make a decision on some things.
I had it in mind before you spoke, Safi, but I was thinking about litter picking and preparation of the park by the staff that we've got, our amenities team. Would it not be fairer for those costs to be met and charged as what they want? I mean, if there's lots of litter after the Shambles, who picks all that?
No, they do it all.
In all fairness to him, he does it all day.
Okay, so would it be a
That's not the
condition of booking?
stipulation.
Is it a condition of booking, or could we make it a condition of booking?
Well,
Yeah, at the moment, as far as I'm aware, it's a condition of booking that they will take tidy up after themselves, and the feedback that I have had is there's never been any problem with anybody that's used it. They've always really looked after the park.
Oh, it's just that there
and if
are
they're-
regular complaints every Saturday morning at 8:30 when I turn up to do the teas and coffees for the park run.
Well, there won't be off back of shambles. I mean, James left that park absolutely spotless.
And they do it.
And that's the Screw Road Festival. The fact that we didn't mow the park before we were meant to mow it, the fact we didn't do huge amounts of things we were meant to have done to run that. Quite frankly, it's embarrassing to sit here and say you're gonna then charge him. Yeah.
Okay, so I think we need to find a way forward for this, because I think we could debate it for hours otherwise. I think it's clear that we're not all comfortable with this pricing structure. I'm not 100% sure how to word a motion around it, because I think what we actually need to do is probably, I'm very aware that the next ComDev meeting is February, which means if we agree this in February, it actually means we can't start advertising the prices of the park until then.
Is there any way to look at where we could put the extra pricing? So say for tidy up fees. Could we add on something like that? That way someone like Shambles wouldn't be affected if they tidy up after themselves, but someone else who doesn't, we can recoup the cost that way. And take out, maybe the setter can take down and do it that way.
I would also like to see the community and charity events reduced to £50, because I really think that 95 is too steep for some of our charities, and it might, as we are trying to put this out to more community use, I think it will actually stop them using it. Andrew?
£50 is 1 hour of officers' costs.
But they don't do anything,
They don't do
generally.
anything to the community events, sorry. I don't mean that in any.
Well, no, but I'm just
way.
trying to put it into perspective, you know, £50 is an hour of an officer's time.
I mean, maybe next year will be different, but I've had very little support or help from officers in the last few years of.
And neither have the Shambles, and I don't believe the Lions had any help either. And that doesn't mean that's not going to happen in the future. I don't think we're in a position to be able to agree this structure. I think everyone seems to be quite happy with the advertising and the fitness.
Yeah.
Don't think anyone seems to have an issue around that.
Although I don't have any issues with it, it's happening. And there's no charging going on at the moment. This is the big problem, isn't it?
How do you police that?
Yeah. It's actually easier to police the community events and other things like that, isn't it? Because you know when they're going to happen, but the fitness is going on there every time you walk through.
Yeah, you're never gonna, somebody holding a little class of 3 people up there, you're never gonna.
I don't know how to move this forward.
I think.
Okay, well, I think we have to take it, ask it to go back for. I don't believe that this is going to pass, so.
Okay, all I'm going to say to you is, from an officer's point of view, if you haven't got your ComDev meeting until February, Christina's already getting inquiries ready for April.
But then we need to stay on the current plan then. Until we can get it sorted, then what we're currently charging is what we currently charge.
Do we have a current?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're charging nothing.
Nothing.
But that's only for the community events.
That's not
Charging
true,
nothing.
actually, we do charge.
You charge, the Shambles should charge £700.
Yes, it's community events, isn't it? Yeah.
It's only community events at the moment that we don't charge.
So it's not the biggest deal in the world if we let those.
I would like to, one thing I do think that hasn't been noted is it doesn't say that there'll be a 10% discount for town residents. I wonder if we can up the discount, which would maybe offset the cost for Shambles, because James is a Melksham resident.
It's Bower Hill.
Sorry?
It's Bower Hill.
He lives in Bower Hill.
Well,
I think we're going to have to be fairly aware that we might have to say, if you live in Bower Hill, if you're within
Town and
if you're
Melksham.
within Melksham Town and Melksham without,
That just needs to.
Can
be
we
kept
add
in that.
Melksham without in
The
there?
people he's doing it for will come from Melksham
Yeah.
Town. I'll be able to.
And Melksham without.
What my suggestion would be, maybe you don't add Melksham without, but what you do is we could word it in a way where actually if you're providing a service like you would do for Grant for Melksham Town residents, which that event would fit. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm conscious if we put Melksham without on that, I might have to do it on other things.
Okay.
Whereas at the moment, your grants do say that if you are running a service for Melksham residents to benefit from,
Yeah.
they would be able to apply for a grant, so it's aligned. And you know, you do have the option of reducing that community charity events for next year slightly if you wish to have a transition. You know, you need to be comfortable with it.
Yes, I mean, that has to be reduced. For me, that has to be reduced and the setup and takedown until we can be sure that we can provide the park in the right condition for setup and takedown. I can't see how we can be charging for that at the moment.
I have to agree with the setup and takedown. The town council, as far as I know, with all events have done nothing other than potentially be on site, but it's the summer, there's someone on site anyway. Actually, for the Food and River Festival, I know categorically they're not there. So can we remove the set down and the setup and take down? So keep the two bottom as they are, remove the setup and take down. Commercial events, we want you to keep it.
Yeah, 50 for a couple of years, I'm fine
But
with
with the 10% discount for
yes,
residents of Melksham or
Events.
events that benefit the residents of Melksham. And then the registered community events down to £50.
I think 50 would be.
hang on. Well, just rewind a second, thinking about it. Your 10% discount for events that are for benefit Melksham Town residents. Every single event you hold in the park is going to benefit Melksham Town residents. So that 10% becomes.
Not necessarily, something. If it was a big private event.
You don't think at least one resident from the town would have go to that event?
Yeah, I'm not sure about the benefit. I think it has to
There
be
is none.
the people putting it on.
Yeah.
Yeah, it has to, from my point of view, it would be, and the directive that I would give the officer, it is about the resident that completes that booking form, that is
Yeah.
responsible for the event, will determine if they get that 10% discount. Because I think from our point of view, what we all of us just need to be really careful of from a council's point of view is everything's transparent and everybody's treated the same.
Okay.
Yeah,
What if it was what if it was a 10% discount provided to an organiser residing within SN12, residing or trading within an SN12 postcode?
Are you okay with that?
I'm
Is that
comfortable with
okay?
that, if you're all comfortable with that.
Yeah.
That sounds very fair.
Well, that just covers it then, doesn't it? It doesn't feel like.
So to confirm then, I just want to make sure we've got this absolutely ironclad. And I think we have to have it for full transparency, given that obviously there are people who sit on this council who have a slight invested interest in this. So I just want to make sure we've got it real ironclad. £50 for community and charity events, keeping the same hourly charge. Commercial events, £350, keeping the hourly charge at 60. Removing the setup and takedown, that doesn't mean it can't be put back in next year, but I think until again we can prove that that is something we're assisting with, it's hard to charge for it. Advertising and TV to keep as is, and the fitness and personal training hire to keep as is. Yeah. So then I would propose a motion that
Sorry, so just the 10% discount
To a resident or business residing within the SN12 postcode area.
What I will also do is I would just like to refer the VAT situation again to Calpesh, and I will bring that to February's meeting.
okay.
Okay.
So then the motion is to we're happy to approve the KGV pricing structure for 2025 based on the new figures we just said. And now we have got here for the deputy clerk to provide delegated authority to provide discounts for multiple bookings. I'm not sure we need that, but I do think we need to give delegated authority to the deputy clerk to be able to give the 10% booking discount, because all the officers.
Included within the structure.
Okay,
We don't need that bit.
so
Can I explain what that was to do with?
yeah,
It was to do with some of the conversations that we're already having with third-party commercials. Is about having them back there more than once throughout the year. And I wanted to be able to have the delegated authority to give 10% discount if they were going to do multiple bookings.
I really don't have an issue with that being part of it, the having delegated authority for the deputy clerk.
Yeah.
So do I have a proposer for that? Andrew, a seconder? Holly, all those in favour? All those against?
Can it be recorded I haven't voted, please?
And one abstention.
I don't even think it's an abstention, it's a.
It is. Okay, sorry, that was blunt. Okay, moving on. Park yoga. So we've collected the raw data from the questionnaire specific to Melksham and have collected that 38 of the 49 respondents provided postcode data, which indicated the majority came from the Melksham town area, primarily followed by Melksham without.
Same, isn't it?
Wiltshire and Swindon Sport Partnership, who coordinate park yoga across the county, have received the funding requirements for park yoga from 2025 onwards. Their board of trustees have developed a funding model which will be in place for the next 3 years, that's 25, 26 and 27. This model asks venues to fully fund the yoga instructors for each session, that's £75 a week per week for 20 weeks, an increase from £70 a week, 1,500 per session, with ambition that from 2028 venues will move to a self-sustaining model supported by on-site contactless and online donations, large sponsorship and grant funding. With this in mind, we have asked WASP for assistance with funding, and the Deputy Clerk has prepared a grant application to Area Board to discuss the costs and the continued funding for park yoga. I'm running out of the ability to speak. Any comments on that?
It's great to have the data. Thank you.
Yep. Lovely, that has been noted. So, item number 15, which is the youth event. Given that we have the original mover of the motion in the room, I'm going to hand this over to Councillor Stokes to be able to explain further.
Don't actually know. No. So I've had lots of amazing conversations with Christina and Fran and Hayley, and Councillor Hubb has been involved, and we've been in contact with lots of different people. This is the new poster for the event that will be coming up. The date is now set for the 15th of February. The children break up on the 14th, so it's really well timed, and it was the only date that we had made this poster. So it's very, very well timed. The Sunnies have agreed to headline. We're currently working on 2 other local acts from the school who hopefully will be able to join us and be able to put on a display. We've managed to get youth workers for youth to come in and help. Got lots going on, haven't we? We've costings and everything are now getting sorted out. We're making some great headway. We've had people volunteering from Melksham Oak, a teacher from Melksham Oak who's volunteered to help. We've had other youth who want to help out doing things like photography. So word is starting to get out, and I'm really excited. This is actually making great steps forward. It's not become stagnant at all. We've just kept moving with it. So we've still got a lot still to sort. It will be held in Melksham Assembly Hall as well. Yeah, nice and local. We'll be ticketed. There will be a cost, which will be £2.50, but that will include a free drink. There will be food laid on as well for them. And yeah, it's looking to be really engaging.
Can we confirm it'll be a non-alcoholic drink?
It is non-alcoholic.
Just because
I
just want it made public.
No, one of the things that we've actually talked about is doing tuck shop style. So instead of having a bar, having a tuck shop style where they can buy sort of like this, bits to eat that we might not have on our leave. I think we're talking about pizzas, aren't we? And stuff, food. So yeah, and then we can make sure as well no alcohol is bought. That will be covered. We'll have security.
Yeah.
That won't be a problem. We're going to try and engage the police to sort of just be there, just to have a chat in a non-formal way. They're not coming in uniform. It'll be very informal. And yeah, what we're hoping is it's going to be a great event that will just really engage and want to be part of the town council. So.
Thank you. I just want to say thank you for all the work that you've done to get this up. I think
Honestly, I think I'd do this without the officers. Officers have been astounding. The ideas that have been flowing, the passion that they feel is, you know, I'm excited about it. It's my little baby, but my gosh, you know, if I can pass it, you know, anyone else to hold on to it, the officers have been absolutely amazing. So I really, really, you know, appreciate all the help they've given me. Councillor Hubbard as well. I thank him as well. He has been a massive help, especially with his connections as well. And, you know, he's been a fountain of knowledge. And again, you know, he's very passionate about this. So just like to say, you know, that this is very much a team effort. And yeah, thank you to the officers.
I will make sure that's passed on to the officers that are here.
Please do.
my only question I've got on it is, when are we starting to advertise?
I would suggest that you start advertising
Believe
first week after January.
Yeah, I believe it's going to be quite soon.
Okay.
So tickets are going to go on for sale through the dot com. Brian,
That's through Ticket Source.
ticket source, that'll be it. So it will all, and the QR codes will be out there with it as well. I know you love your QR codes, and they sure is one of the things I mentioned. So yeah, and what we're planning on doing, I plan on doing, being out there with some leaflets, just handing out to the youngsters and just saying, here, take a handful, go hand out to friends. So yeah, hashtags and everything will be coming with that.
Amazing.
It's on the brain tonight.
Thank you so much. It's going to be a great event. So moving on to item 16, community engagement. So Friends of Gifford Surgery will be running a toy drive on the 13th of December at 6:30, at Melksham Town Hall. Residents who need a little extra help this Christmas can attend and select 3 toys which will be wrapped. There is a basket for donations to this and the pet food bank in the reception.
Yeah, so I would just say, our community and events engagement officer has worked really, really hard with Gifford Surgery, and the basket and the toys that are coming in from residents has been really lovely, and more so since the floods. So I would say if any residents are clearing out before Christmas, to please bring them in and help our events officer and Gifford to make somebody else's Christmas really special. And we had a wonderful visit of a little boy today that's emptied his wardrobe for Christmas and wanted to donate, instead of selling them for pocket money, wanted to donate them. So it's a really lovely partnership.
And I assume we're promoting that on.
We absolutely are.
I thought I'd seen it, but you know when you just want to double check. It's a lovely idea. Anyone got anything to say on that other than how nice it is? Okay. So moving on, Mayor's charity event. I realise he's not here, but we can still talk about it. We are delighted to share that We are delighted to share that we are actively building a relationship with the Mayor's chosen charity, Julia House, a cause close to our community's heart. As part of this partnership, Julia House has been invited to all our community events, giving them an opportunity to engage with our residents and share the incredible work they do. We're proud to work alongside Julia House and hope that this partnership continues to flourish, helping to make a meaningful impact within our community. Thank you to the Coventry Building, Society, who have allowed us to display all the Mayor's Christmas card entries. We encourage anybody who is around the town to please take a look at our local artists. Is there anything add on there? No? Great, thank you very much. Great to know that we've got those up in town. I'm not going to read out the next bit because it's very, very long. But it is just to note that Wiltshire Council Partnership Community Conversations, I'm sure everybody in the room is aware of community conversations and what they're doing. But if you're not, just a very quick overview, they are working with the forest community primarily to help foster relationship and community building in that very specific area of the town. There are lots of things going on with them. We both met, myself and Councillor Westbrook met with them at the weekend as well, because they're looking at doing some building things out a bit further. Anything to mention on that at all? No? Lovely, that is noted. Great, moving on to Remembrance Sunday. I'm also not going to read all of this back. I'm sure everybody I think everybody here attended Remembrance, or I appreciate not. And it was a spectacularly attended event, as it always is. As was mentioned earlier, we have a very strong military presence in this town. It was, as ever, really well done. There have been some feedback on it. I'm not going to read everything through, as I think there is a huge amount to take on board here, unless anyone specifically wants to raise anything. The only thing I do want to mention is that as of next year, we are looking at doing the poppies to Paddington. So I don't know if people are aware, but on the day after Remembrance, Great Western Railway run a scheme where you take your poppies to Chippenham and you put them on the train, and then they are laid to rest in Paddington Station, along with, I mean, it's thousands of poppies from across the country to create a memorial in Paddington.
Oh, is that why the wreaths all disappeared so quickly?
And not from this year, from us. I know Chippenham did them, and a number of, a councillor actually went up with them this year to Chippenham. It might have been a coincidence, but she was definitely on the poppy train. And it's just, I mean, they get them from all over the world, actually. So it is a really lovely tradition. And I mean, the whole of Paddington is covered in these poppies, because I think there is a slight concern of where do they go afterwards, and actually this way they are given sort of back to the country. Is there anything?
I'd just like to ask one question on that, actually. It's interesting what Pat just said. So do all the poppy wreaths get taken, or do we just take one or two?
So it's just one or two. So it's not all of them. I think a few get, sorry?
Yeah, can I-
Yeah, of course.
So as far as I'm aware, you have to buy an additional wreath. It will travel, you have to take it to the station at Melksham.
Yeah.
And you can either have someone travel on the train with it.
Yeah.
Or you can arrange for Great Western to arrange for its transfer from Melksham to the station at Chippenham.
Right, but it's only one wreath.
It's only one wreath.
It's fine, I just wasn't sure.
In answer to your question of why the wreaths left very early this time, the RBL advised that they could be removed, so that's why they were taken.
Yeah, because there was some concern.
Yes, no, that was a decision taken by the RBL.
Yeah, I got your email at the time, thank you, yeah, it's just that I remember seeing them not there and thought, oh, they're usually there for a couple of weeks afterwards.
I think it's often liked for them to be there for the 11th.
Well, no, it was a few days after that, but it was like usually they're there for longer than that.
Sometimes they fade to a point where actually they look
True.
sad. I think
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
There for ages.
Yeah.
Yeah. Andrew, you wanted to come in?
Yeah, I was just thinking forward to next year. Hopefully by then the refurbishment of the Cannon Square building will be completed, and it would be great if that can be utilised as part of the events, given its proximity to the War Memorial.
Yes, definitely. You'll probably note from the agenda, I have already actually had my debrief meeting with the vicar, with Darren and with Trevor. It was a very positive conversation about steps forward to just sort of tighten aspects of the event up. And we have already actually been in discussions about using St Michael's rooms as a focal point for sort of our control point for the event. And we've actually already got a date in the diary for like a little pre-meets ahead of Remembrance on the 5th of November, just to run through and make sure that everything runs very smoothly.
We do have to make a decision on whether or not we want to do the sorry, I actually can't see you behind the screen.
This is what it says, these screens need moving.
I actually couldn't see you with your hand up. I'm so sorry.
Trying to see, it's an absolute nightmare.
Yeah, it is. They really get in the way.
Just clarify, only sell recyclable poppies. Can you clarify what you mean by only sell recyclable? Reusable or?
Yeah, what we'd like to do is go, when you've seen the RBL out in supermarkets.
I do.
Yeah, is to go for the metal or the knitted and try something that's a little bit more sustainable next year.
Well, you know, they are moving over to non-plastic buttons to the full paper ones they had this year. So actually they won't be.
That would be great. We didn't necessarily have those here this year, so. Yeah, we have plastic. Yeah, we have plastic ones, and we would like to try and move away from that. So,
Fine, that will be a thing anyway.
excellent.
So, So for decision, we do have to make a decision to work in partnership with the Veterans Charity in 2025 and purchase an additional wreath to be sent to Route to Remembrance. So this is just that we have to pay for an additional wreath.
Yes.
That is specifically for that. So I'm happy to propose that. Have I got a seconder?
Yeah.
Safi, everyone in favour? My only thing I would say, would that come out of our budget? As in condensed budget or? Yeah, condensed. That's fine. I just wanted to check. Yeah.
Sorry, would that be the same price as one normal recently? That's fine.
So £25, yeah.
Sorry, who proposed second?
I proposed, Safi seconded. Me, moving on. Not nearly there. So, Christmas, there's a few things into Christmas. So to receive a verbal update, I'm sure everyone is aware that our Christmas event is this Saturday and we're all buzzing excited and not at all worried. Verbal update, please.
Yeah, I will hand over to the community engagement officer to do your verbal update. What I would probably like to know is to all the officers who are involved in Christmas this year. Everybody near enough is relatively new to this, and have picked it up quite late in the process. So I'd like to thank them for pulling it together so quickly. There's lots of ideas and concepts that are going around for different processes for next year. But we just want to get through this weekend and make sure the Melksham residents have something as usual to be very proud of. And I have to say I'm very excited because I do know that this is a showcase event for Melksham. So I'm actually looking forward to seeing it in its flesh.
Oh, right, you won't be disappointed.
I'm sure I won't be.
Well, I'll be very sad if someone doesn't have a Britney Luke who's running it.
Sadly, I do not have a Brittany mic. Perhaps we can look for that in the budget for next year.
We won't.
The event is, I would say, considering the lateness with which elements of it were picked up, has come together very well, and I can only credit my colleagues for their support in making that happen. The sort of the entertainment side of it, I think, is very well organised. The challenge is mainly sort of focused around stallholders, and then we've already touched on the costs for stallholders and sort of the lateness that a lot of them were contacted about availability, and plans were already in place to sort of combat that for next year. I had a very positive conversation with our security. Santa will get through the.
That's all we care about is Father Christmas going to get to the.
And we made sure that communication with the local residents and business in terms of road closures was very clear, and as early as we possibly could, as the minute that the road closure information was in, it was out to them within sort of 3 working days. A few conversations with regards to residents and businesses raising a few concerns subsequent to that. And we're going to work with them very closely, certainly more for next year, trying to sort of ease that exit aspect of it. But it's always going to be a challenge for the shape of the venue, but it's shaping up very well. The weather for the afternoon is looking dry. That is what I'm clinging on to at the moment.
It was very windy in the morning, but they've removed
Yes,
that.
they have removed that. But the lights will be going on regardless of who is here.
Thank you. It's really good to know. And I do want to thank you for picking this up and running with it, because it is a huge event, and I'm well aware that you came into it 2/3 of the way through. So lean on us, because we have done this before. I think almost all of us worked it last year and have worked previous years. So please don't feel like, I know you're in charge, this is your show, but if you need help, shout.
I think the one thing that we have discussed that we would really like from all officers, councillors and volunteers on the day is please support us with getting the data from the residents.
Yeah.
In terms of where they're coming from would be really, really helpful.
So I was actually going to say that we would like as much data as possible. So even when you're talking to people, even if you can just verbally ask them, where do you live? They'll probably say Melksham, but if we can get a postcode, we can postcode map it.
I want to encourage them to, tag Melksham Town Council into their photos that they put on their social media and be able to use those for the future as well, which would be
We
great.
have set up a QR code for you. There's 2 actually, effectively. One is literally just collecting that postcode data and figures of how many people they're attending with. And the other is a little bit more of an in-depth questionnaire, asking a little bit more of their feedback and opinions about the event. So certainly one will be very focused towards stallholders and businesses who are participating, and the other slightly more towards collecting data of where people are from.
It's good to hear that you're talking with businesses and residents as well, because I know that residents of particularly Crown House can sometimes feel a bit left out of decisions, and I think it's good that we can have those conversations with them, particularly as they tend to have more access needs. Safi?
Can I ask, and only because I've worked it for the last 3 Christmas lights switch on these mornings, and 8 AM being outside, how have we communicated unloading for the assembly hall?
So we have actually offered the opportunity for set up on Friday evening between 5 and 7, which I have been encouraging as many of the stallholders to take up as possible. We have about 6 currently who have definitely confirmed, a few others will come through. They have all been given an individual time slot on the mornings to
Have
come
you
in.
read the Riot Act that is there?
We have indeed, yes.
Thank you. Anything else for it? Yeah.
Just collecting data, is there a mechanism that we can use? Sandra?
Yes, so we have the QR codes for that. So residents will literally just need to scan their phones.
Right,
Equally, there'll be a URL, I'm assuming, and
Yeah.
we can have it on our phones and just get them to enter it.
so they scan the QR code and put in their postcode. Okay, thank you.
And obviously, just for anybody who might be interested, postcodes are non-specific to people. So they won't be published, but also they are within GDPR compliance because you can't tell where someone.
They're anonymous.
They're anonymous. Anything from anyone else? Just wanted to make sure that was made public. Great, thank you very much. I'm looking forward to it. I hope we see everybody there. And that we're not blown away. Although we are blown away by the amazingness of it. So, new for 2025, to discuss ideas for Christmas Lights event 2025, including using the town hall as an extension of the Christmas market. Is this a discussion you'd like to start, or?
Well, I can start it. We have a lovely town hall that isn't utilised, and we would like to utilise it more. Myself and Christina have mapped out the building on how many stall holders we could get in here, and we would like to be able to use the whole building and get footfall and celebrate the building.
I am going to try, I'm not trying to pour cold water on stuff, but you are going to have to think about access names and also exits, because when we have had Santa's Grotto up here, with the volume of people coming up these stairs, it really does become a big issue. So we had to do, and depending on which way around to do it, depends on how much carnage it could cause, by using one set of stairs to come up. Other
It
set
would
of
be a
stairs-
one-way system.
Yeah, but you need to work the one-way system because we've tried it both ways.
Yeah.
And both ways has its own issues.
Okay.
That all I just said it has been a challenge, which was part of the reason why Santa's Grotto got moved as well.
This room is also particularly loud because of everything that's going on out there. That doesn't mean we shouldn't use it, because we have a beautiful building that we should be utilising. But I think just be aware that it can't be anything, I think, where people need to be quiet or hear things, which is why sort of it wasn't perfect for sort of Santa telling a story. I've been very vocal, I think, about the fact that I am desperate for us to get something new for 2025. I think we've had the same kind of thing for 15, 20 years, 30 years, and we need a bit of injection of life into it. People aren't really coming down anymore until just before the Christmas lights get turned on, at which point it's exceptional, and I don't think anyone really wants to change how we turn on the Christmas lights. But I would love to see some brand new things for 2025. I'm aware that it's potentially got a budget implication. But I would, I would, no, somebody's gonna laugh at me, you know, jokingly, but actually I had a conversation today in town with a resident who said that they would love a bar, or actually, they actually mentioned a ice skating rink. I did say I didn't think we can afford the insurance on that, but things like that, I think, are things we'd like to explore.
I would suggest that you've got some officers that would be very happy to look at alternatives for next year.
You mean you can't turn it around by Saturday?
No, I can't. I mean, I do like to work magic. I mean, I do like
Like
to work
challenge.
magic. We're already starting to work on some concepts and
Into an ice skating rink.
we can't, yeah, but we are having conversations about where we could and what we could. So bear with us. Let's get, I want to get the officers through the weekend and then
course.
we can regroup for next year if that's okay.
I really, you know, just to make sure that, I think the residents get a say in potentially new things that can be done. I think this is a really nice one because it's a very much a residents' event.
We did actually look at it. Gloria and myself looked at ice rinks last year. It's a little expensive.
I would suggest it depends how you do it.
Yeah.
But yes,
I think we need a bit of, we need to inject some new life, not into the actual turning on, because that bit's excellent. But just a bit of pizzazz. I'm envisioning Winter Wonderland.
I know, you just want your ski
Really want to
with your glue wine and your bratwurst and your marshmallows and chocolate. That's
Anyway, moving on, because I think that's becoming a little
Officers
bit
have
about
noted
me.
your requirements.
Thank you. So, moving on to 20.3, and Operation Christmas Child 2025. So, I'm only going to read out a little bit of it, but we are looking at the consideration from Melksham Town Council to support Operation Christmas Child in 2025 by becoming an official drop-off point. I was going to say, I wasn't aware that we weren't, because
We have been so many years. Yeah, we have been.
I think it is something that, I mean, I think every child used to do Operation Christmas Child.
Yeah.
I wasn't aware that we were no longer.
Boxes, full of boxes of boxes. I've seen it, yeah, in my time.
Oh, yeah. Sorry.
Yeah. It's had it for the last few years because.
It might have stopped during COVID and never got picked back up
Yeah,
again.
yeah,
As many
yeah,
things
yeah,
did.
Yeah.
We leave it at that.
In which case, we do have to make a decision on it. Oh, sorry, Adrienne.
It's all right. I was just gonna say, Operation Christmas Child, I mean, I know there is a very vocal group who are against it, but every single child that I know who puts things into boxes, and collects it and brings it down, absolutely loves it, and it's actually giving them a view of the world, because these go beyond the UK. And yes, we do have an awful lot of people in the UK who struggle at Christmas as well, and there are lots of things for them, but you know, these are going out to the war zones and things like that, and I think it's really important that we get behind it. Sorry, Charlie, did you not know about the groups who are very anti-Operation Christmas Child?
No.
It's to do with the fact that it's a Christian organisation and they put Christian leaflets into the boxes once after they've left here, and they're then being dropped in Muslim areas. There's a lot of people, not a lot of people, there's a vociferous group of people who are very anti that happening. But I think the connotations that go with, I think everything else that goes with it is so fantastic that I think we ought to do it.
It's a small thing, and anyway, most of the people who won't be able to.
Okay,
accomplish anyway.
let's let Charlie talk.
I was just gonna say, whether you believe in religion or not,
Yeah.
compassion goes a long way. Empathy goes a long way, whether they're in this country or whether they're abroad, or, charity should start in the heart, not just at home. That, and, at the end of the day, whatever you believe, people need help.
Yeah.
I'd like to propose that we actually do
Yeah.
Operation Christmas
Yeah,
Child.
and I'd like to get rid of the pile of boxes I've got in
So
my dressing
propose-
table.
Thanks, Councillor. Have you got a seconder for that?
Yeah.
Councillor Stokes is a seconder. All in favour? Thank you very much. That was unanimously passed. Nearly there, everyone. So the committee room hire, to consider the hire of the committee room. So I'm going to try to consider the community hire of the committee room, a verbal report from the deputy clerk.
It's just to note at this point that we are investigating long-term how we can use the town hall again, and we'll come to you with some recommendations. And just to note the council's kind support on trying to help any businesses or community groups who are affected by the floods up until Christmas.
Really good idea, thank you.
Yeah, I think it's, and I want it noted as well, please, about the fact that we are we are potentially using the space for
Yeah.
affected businesses who were affected in the flooding. Lovely, moving on to our, the final note, so the marketplace.
It's just to note that we've spoken to Wiltshire Council, and if Melksham Town Council would like to do anything in the marketplace, we will not be charged for using it. So officers are working with somebody to put on a vegan market, and we're talking about maybe a French market. So
Yes.
we're trying to utilise the market square more. That's the
Fabulous.
marketplace.
Anything from anybody else in the room? In which case, I just want to say thank you again for what is, I think, one of the best reports we've had in a very long time.
Yeah.
I know it's been hard work, so I thoroughly thank you for it. And on that note, I will bring the meeting to an end. Thank you very much. Good night, everybody.
Thank you. Thank you. That was a very productive meeting.